With the release of chapter 33 of Boruto TBV Vortex, it's finally time to start a brand new arc. But before we start this new arc, we gotta talk about something that the story is getting ready to reveal. And is going to be one of the biggest changes, one of the biggest shocks in Boruto's life. So if you're interested in what this video entails, then stick around because we're about to break down everything so you guys know exactly what Ikemoto is plotting here. So as we all know, the Mamushi invasion arc just came into an end. It was a good end to an arc that lasted about half a year, believe it or not, but we're finally about to get into something fresh. Something new to stimulate everyone's minds. But before this arc ended, Kashin Koji said something to Inojin that I believe is a key reason as to why the timeline is about to shift so greatly. So if you take a look at Inojin and Kashin Koji's conversation, which happens somewhere in the middle of this chapter, what we see is Koji explaining his ability to Inojin. And in this discussion, he mentions how the weakness of prescience is that he can only view the future when he gets visions, but he has no control when he gets them, so for more or less, they're pretty random. He then goes on to say his last vision was about 4 days ago. Now looking back to when he first got a new set of visions, he stated that it was the first time he got more visions in about 6 days. So I guess you can say that Koji should get a new set of visions in about 2 to 3 days at the latest. They're like weekly updates. But honestly, what's the most shocking part about this is when he mentioned that he didn't know the future when Inojin asked him to tell him what was going to happen next. And the reason he did not know is because once he told him about his new jutsu, mind transmission formation, everything that followed was different than any scenario he's seen up to that point, which means the future changed so much from its original path that he doesn't have any idea what's going to happen anymore. So essentially, they're in the dark until Koji gets his next update in about 2 to 3 days. It may not seem like a long time, but a lot can happen in that time frame. And let me tell you, it might be the absolute worst time for this to happen, because the future they just created might cause the downfall of Earth, and they don't even know it yet. Following Boruto's actions in Tsunagakure, Koji explained to Ada why what happening was so bad. He says because of Boruto's actions today, it riled up Mamushi to cause him to be on the move, with Ada as his target. Several chapters later, we see Mamushi has arrived in Konoha earlier than expected, and judging by Koji's words to Ada in Tsunagakure, somehow Boruto must have caused this by fighting Jura when he was not supposed to. So this already kind of messed up everything because it took preparation time off for everyone, and it forced Inojin to learn this new jutsu in a couple of days. He actually ended up only needing 1 day, which I can't lie, is extremely impressive. So Inojin actually clutched up, because had he not learned this technique in time, Koji confirmed that there would have been more casualties in this operation, much more casualties, including Ada and Himawari. So that already changed the future greatly, in a positive way too. Not to mention, the fact that Mamushi arrived in Konoha early already set them back, because the fact that Mamushi arrived when he did meant that him and Lord Koba was going to be in the village at the same time, which was a huge blow to Koji's plan overall. So when I say if Inojin didn't learn this jutsu, things would have been bad, believe me, it would have been bad. Too many things did not go their way, but Inojin negated about 70% of that because of that jutsu. Now, it wasn't all good though, because the fact that Koba requested Shikamaru so demanding, he forced Koji's hand so he had no choice but to pay him attention. So as we all know, Inojin stopped his mind transmission formation to tend to this matter, and when the jutsu was down, a key character in the finale of this arc made a huge mistake, and that character is Sarada. I'm pretty sure you guys all know by now. You see, when Sarada used Ohirume on a few random Mamushis, she drained her chakra to below the necessary amount for her to do another one, while still staying conscious. So when she tried to do it again, she couldn't deliver. She passed out, and by the looks of it, she might have did some irreversible damage to her eye. The last 50 Mamushis would have been destroyed with ease if she had used it earlier. This caused Inojin to have to step in and take control over all the Mamushi in the area and sacrifice his own eyes to save everyone. So I guess everyone is leaving this mission blind. Everyone's eyes are just exploding, huh? But that was the price he was willing to pay. But in all reality, had everything went as planned, Sarada would still have been awake, her manga kill still intact, and Inojin gets to keep his vision. And I guess everyone isn't extremely exhausted. So because that happened, it could have a small effect on the future that could end up being a huge deal later on. So now Boruto wants to deliver the Thorn Soul back to Bug, but due to everyone's status, especially Inojin, this may end up being really bad. We see on the last page of the chapter, Code is hiding behind the tree that Bug is currently stuck in, and this is because he must know about the current situation in Konoha. He probably already knows about the Thorn Souls and that it can save Bug from the tree state. He now works closely with Jura, although we probably can't confirm he stayed in communication with him after they parted ways. But there's obviously some way Code knows that Boruto is going to try and save Bug. That's why he's waiting for him. It could just be his intuition, or he somehow found out, but nonetheless, he's waiting for Boruto because he knows he's the only person that can get to this dimension using FTG. As long as he left one of his pins there, or one of Koji's toads, which he probably did, then he can access that dimension and save Bug whenever he wants to. And judging by Boruto's words to Kawaki near the end of the chapter, it leads me to believe he does have some sort of access to this dimension. So next chapter, it's highly likely he goes to this dimension. But like I said, it could be horrible for the future, because there are still some things that are not certain. Like, is Boruto going to try and go at this alone? There's no doubt he's going as soon as possible, because these Thorn Souls rot extremely fast if they aren't dealt with right away. That's why Jura had to retreat so suddenly, because he knows if he stayed and fought, Hidari's Thorn Soul would have rot and then there'd be no reviving him. So it's not like Boruto has any time to wait until these guys recover. No, if you're not in condition to go, then you can't help. And if we look at the people available, the options aren't all that wide. I mean, Kawaki has completely exhausted not only himself, but he overheated his body, so he won't even be able to use karma for a good while. Sarada is also out of the question. Even Damon was left gassed from this battle as well. That, and he probably doesn't care about saving Bug. As long as Ada is safe, he's really back to being in that role he was prior to this arc. That's just my guess. But there are guys like Konohamaru or Mitsuki, even Himawari, who I know Boruto would probably be against taking anyway, just from him being that overprotective older brother. But if it came down to taking these characters, he might as well just do this solo. Not to say they're weak or anything, but they don't offer any type of advantage in this situation. They're essentially just another body to look after if things go down. And this could include Delta too. So Boruto would probably want to go at this one alone. And he's probably not expecting anything crazy. He doesn't even know where Code is since the last time they've seen each other. So the last thing he's expecting is Code there waiting to ambush him. The only thing that makes sense for Boruto to do is have Inojin create a line for him when he actually goes to this dimension, so they can all keep in contact. And this line would be detrimental to the future, because if we look at the properties of this jutsu, it would be perfect on a mission like this, because it uses Boruto as a receiver to sense objects in the vicinity. Everything gives off its own vibration with its own unique wave frequency. This includes Code in his claw mark attached to the back of the tree. So not only would Inojin be able to tell that Code is nearby, he would be able to pinpoint his exact location using this jutsu. The only thing we don't know is if this jutsu can work through different dimensions. It was stated that this jutsu can work over long distances, but I'm not going to be disingenuous and say that means it can work interdimensionally. But it is different than your average mind-body technique because of the way it works and how Inojin used it. So we don't exactly know its limits for right now, but even if it didn't work through different dimensions, there's still a way it could work. I was thinking about how Code could execute this job to eliminate Boruto and Koji, and if he wants to make the most out of this situation, the best option would be to not ambush Boruto when he saves Bug, but to tag Boruto with a claw mark like he did to Shikamaru, or that one Konoha Jonin dude. This way, it makes it possible to gather invaluable intel on Boruto. He can possibly find out who Boruto is working with and where he's located, as well as any other useful information he'll reveal just by talking to Koji or whatever. And if Code does this while Boruto transfers Bug back to Konoha or somewhere for interrogation, Inojin would know that something is off with his vibration, or someone else is nearby. This would make it very likely that they would be able to catch Code before he makes a move. Because let's be honest, all Code would be aiming to do is to get the Kashin Koji. because if he tries to ambush Boruto and fails, that could be it for Code. Boruto is just too strong for him, no matter how you put it. And he got even stronger because now he has full access to his karma's power now. It's not like Code can stand a chance. So the smart thing to do would be to just use Boruto as a way to gather information, and keep gathering information until he forms a plan on how he's gonna execute this thing. But without Inojin's jutsu and Koji not getting another vision in about 2 to 3 days, it limits what options they have now. So whatever move Code makes, it would be completely impossible to foresee, which means he has the advantage. What would happen if Boruto just brings Code to Koji and grants him access to the hideout without knowledge of it? What would happen? Now this is scary. Well, probably not that scary because at the end of the day, it's just Code, right? But if he has some sort of devious plan going into this, Kashin Koji at the very least could be in some serious trouble. Code would have to make a move at the perfect time though, at a time where he can be the most effective, a time where Koji and Boruto are not together. But having a way to get to Koji is the most important part, and that's what Boruto is unknowingly going to do. And when we look at a battle between Koji and Code, I have to say Code might have the slight advantage because of him just massively outscaling Koji in nearly all combative aspects. Having the Karma Seal, outmatching Jigen in terms of power, and having his limiters removed. It might have you questioning if Koji could really handle Code how he is now. We all know Koji could only fight Jigen when he was weakened by Naruto and Sasuke, otherwise he would have been defeated. So when up against a foe stated to be stronger than Jigen, it causes for questioning how that's actually going to go. You see what I'm saying? All I know for sure though, is that if Code is the one that unalived Koji, that is big for the story, because it indirectly hurts Boruto the most. It hurts Boruto more than just physically beating the life out of him. Prescience is the way they navigate through the world to get the best possible future, which entails them defeating Jura and saving the planet. And without prescience, it takes away that advantage they have. So everything gets 10 times harder. I'd argue they probably couldn't protect the future after that happens. That's how important Koji is to literally everything they do. So look at this picture now. Because the timeline shifted so much from the Momushi battle, now Boruto is going into this operation alone, or very likely to. And that increases his chances of being tailed by Code without anyone knowing. No prescience advantage, no mind transmission formation to pinpoint him, nothing. So this future could easily lead to the death of Kashin Koji and officially launch Boruto straight into his Star of Hope arc. And when I say Star of Hope, it's just something that Tonari referred to Boruto as during his dream. It implies that now Boruto is going to have to stop relying on prescience and forge his own fate using his own power, because that's the only way the future is going to be saved. It's a role we all want to see Boruto in, because that's exactly how he's going to cement himself among the greats, like his father and grandfather. I'm so serious when I say this. This is the role everyone wants to see Boruto in, because it offers a lot of uncertainty in the series. And when there's uncertainty, there's a level of unpredictability that people love. And not only that, this will force Boruto to really grow as a character and take on this new role as the one and only Star of Hope, as I mentioned before. And obviously, this could lead into some other really cool events like the awakening of Boruto's jougan, another power that will allow him to deny fate and create his own reality. Like another form of precognition that belongs solely to Boruto. We'll see how this affects Boruto, but I think it will really move things along in the story and spark a new light in his eyes. A much needed light that will lead him to saving the entire planet using his own power, as fate already predestined to happen. So let me know what you guys think about this down below. What will occur in this arc? Is this the start to Boruto's growth as the Star of Hope? Is this really the end of the prescience era in the Boruto series? Or will they stop Code's plan and everything go along smoothly? Let me know what you guys think. And as always, if you enjoyed this video and don't mind seeing more like this in the near future, go ahead and like the video, comment, subscribe, and turn on the post notifications so you don't miss another video like this or when I go live for chapter spoilers. And until next time, I'll see you boys and girls later, and I'm out. Peace.